if we don't see missed assignments and free running linebackers. Yeah. That is going to be, that's what is like keeping Husky fans up at night, is a free running full speed Ohio State linebacker or Michigan linebacker coming directly at Will Rogers. Yeah. Like that's going to keep me up. Even if he gets the ball out quick, I just don't want to see that guy get hit big time, man.
So I think there's something to this, this Tom Cable, Scott Huff, like, thought process of my guards are good enough to play tackle. My tackles are good, or, are mean enough to play guard.
Before we get into the offensive line, let's talk about the tight ends, because the tight ends are a very unique and kind of eclectic group. Izzo, when we get into like talking about these tight ends, what are your initial thoughts like when you're looking at this room? Because I know we were kind of worried about it after the exodus.
What I think is going to happen is you are going to see some specialization. To a degree, you are going to see when Collected Latu is on the field that it's a pass play. The thing about Collected Latu, man, is he's 6'7", and the guy catches everything. I forgot our tight ends coach. He was talking about this in an interview recently, saying that basically, like, if you just throw it anywhere near him, he's coming down with it.
And he showed that in the mock game.
Yeah, it's just he's just too much of an asset to not be featuring fairly often. To be honest, like what safety is anywhere even close to that tall, even in the Big Ten?
What linebacker is that tall? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just it's a problem.
The other thing, it's a Jordan Pow.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all right. No. But the other thing that Pow says about Latu is that he can legitimately run a full route tree. And I think that's what makes him even more elite than from a pass catching standpoint than like a Quentin Moore. I think Quentin Moore is going to be like your inline tight end, and Latu is going to be kind of like your split out, your gadgety tight end. But one thing I wanted to say on the tight ends from an Arizona standpoint last year, Arizona tight ends caught 48 passes last year. One of their tight ends caught 45 of those balls.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Who's their second guy? Was he like capable, or was he like a redshirt freshman or something?
No. He was pretty tough. It was that Kenyon Burnett kid.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Who almost ended up transferring to the University of Washington. Yep. But yeah, it's not like he's like some slouch. It's just, I think that, let me say it this way too. I think Latu might have a more passing skill set or pass catching skill set. But dude, Quentin Moore, man, he is complete. I mean, he is a complete big body tight end.
He is a absolutely underrated pass catcher. It's the only reason why we're highlighting Collected Latu is because he's so obviously a threat at 6'7". You know what I mean? But yeah, I total agreement with Noah right there. He is a complete tight end.
Do you guys see you have DeGraff and you also have Otten kind of sitting behind him. And I know Otten's had a hard time staying healthy both years. He played during the spring, but didn't play much during this mock game. And then DeGraff played and he actually looked pretty good. Do you guys see them getting much PT, or do you see them not playing more than the 4 games that?
I think it'll be injury based, and tight end is a position where there's a lot. So I think you're probably going to see a good amount of DeGraff. You have Crowell to there too, but I think DeGraff is probably the next guy up. The last thing I will say to, back to Q Moore and Collected Latu, I think some of the reason why you're going to see specialization as well is that the schemes that they run ask a lot of the tight end, and it can be kind of a cumbersome thing to take on as a tight end, going from not being a starter with Kalen DeBoer, where it's pretty vanilla what the tight end is doing, to now being asked to potentially bounce out on bubble screens and set different blocks and pre-snap motion. And now you're asked to inline block on the inside of the left hip of the right tackle. And so I think what they want to do is simplify things for both guys.
So they're everybody's young in that room, except for Moore.
Yeah, but I think there's a learning curve from this offense to the last one. And I think when it was, what I'd heard was that as they brought it up to him, it was a little bit like, all right, maybe we have Collected Latu, so we don't need to ask this much of him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But back to your Decker draft thing, I think Decker's, if I had to put a wager on it, my guess is that he burns his red shirt this year.
Okay.
Because I think he is ready to go.
And you don't see Otten playing because of the injuries, or playing
correct.
limited because
if
of
I
injuries?
was to guess, gun to my head, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, you guys, we're going to move on to the biggest question. This has been the question of the off season. I know we talked about it in the Discord and on the Twitch. The offensive line. You know, we lost everybody. We brought in a bunch of different names. No, I'm going to start with you. I know you used to play against a lot of offensive linemen. What does this offensive line have to do for us to be successful? Who are going to be the players that are going to have to really step up, in your opinion?
I'll say one player I'm looking for to really like solidify his position, and that's going to be, and I'll talk about it a little bit more too, but guard Memolar. I think it's time for him to step up, be that leader. And that's like the number one guy I really want to see just be an absolute road grader for the Dogs in 24.
Okay. All right. Now, Izzo, I'm going to switch to you on this question, because this has been, I think, the most asked question to maybe all three of us. Who is the starting five, and what do you want to see from their development moving forward?
I think Fasala, left tackle, is who I see as your starting left tackle. And then I would say guard Memolar. And I totally agree with everything Noah said. And part of the reason why guard Memolar is so exciting as an upside guy is because his upside is like day one NFL draft pick. I don't want to swear. He's massive.
You already did.
I'm about to be dropping F-bombs left and right. He's huge, dude. He moves so well too. He's fast. And anyways, we could go on about him. Tatali in the middle. And then it'll be really interesting as to whether what happens when Landon is fully healthy or if he's ready to roll. Yeah. I assume that's his spot, but the center is so impactful in this offense that we'll get into that. And then right guard, Enoch, and then right tackle as a party. That's probably your starting five. I don't think that's a giant shock to anybody. No. McCree was brought in, but he's a little light. And I think Fasalo just hasn't beat in the size department. Also, Fasalo's upside is really high. If he gets cleaned up and he's got an NFL body, NFL mindset, mean streak, he's what you want on your offensive line at a left tackle. The only things that we have to say that we are drawing upon for negatives for Fasalo and why it could be a liability in the season is solely based in his experience. Yeah. So anyways, what I want to see from this offensive line, especially early on, is communication. Tight ends are going to help with chip blocks. Do I think Fasalo's probably going to be on his own out there? No, but I think a big piece of that is guard Memolar picking up. I love him on the left side because he can pick up and help out Fasalo. Yeah. So that's going to be a big thing, especially when you have Fasalo and Tatali in the middle. He's a senior. He's played a lot of college ball, but as a unit, they're young together. And center is called upon a lot within this offense to be able to call out blocker, who's blocking who's the mic, all of those different types of things, especially against the Big Ten. We're not in the Pac-12 guys anymore. These front sevens that we're going to go up against, they got to be dialed. Yeah. I agree. So that'll be interesting. You look at teams like Oregon and Michigan and Ohio State. Those defenses, man, they're licking their chops and they're deep too. So things got to be dialed in up front with communicating, and that'll be a key early on. You have, like Noah had said, you've got this 4 or 5 game stretch to make sure that stuff gets dialed in. It'll be a really good sign that Brendan Carroll is doing a good job if we don't see missed assignments and free running linebackers. Yeah. That is going to be that's what is keeping Husky fans up at night, is a free running full speed Ohio State linebacker or Michigan linebacker coming directly at Will Rogers. Yeah. That's going to keep me up. Even if he gets the ball out quick, I just don't want to see that guy get hit big time, man. Yeah. They got to build trust early on. the offensive line too, and their movements and being able to pick up on timing and not getting false starts and stuff. It's that plays big in this scheme when there's tons of motion and they're running, we get our offensive line out in space a lot also, like with these bubble screens and wide receiver slip screens coming over the middle. They're going to be called upon to move more than we're used to seeing in an offense at the University of Washington, to like, when Giles is coming across the middle because we're rolling it underneath the wide receiver screen, Fasalo and guard Memler got to get up and run right away. Yeah. They got to get moving.
Yeah.
So, just the offensive line cohesion and communication to where we're not seeing false starts and we're not seeing free running linebackers coming directly at our quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to be clear on one thing too. And I think if we don't say this, people our trolls are going to be firing on all cylinders. Don't for a minute think that we don't fully understand that we had 2 elite bookend tackles.
Yeah.
Don't think that we don't understand that we had, more senior laden guards last year in Bulow and Kalepo. And don't think we understand that we lost the preseason, All-American prediction in Parker Brailsford. We totally get it. We're fully aware.
We get it, guys.
Yeah.
But here's the
go ahead, Mike.
So we're looking at what we have right now, and that's important. And to say we don't have talent is just not paying attention.
Agreed. And that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's where I was going. I mean, you have, dude, as a party, dude, he could end up turning into a very, very good draftable offensive tackle.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's legit. And you look at Fasalo, he's young, but the thing that both of those guys have at the tackle position is they have that want to learn mentality. They're always in the weight room, always staying after practice, getting extra work in the pass sets, just always trying to develop their craft. And I think that's like where they are in their career. That's like one of the biggest things you can ask for. And don't forget, going into guards real quick, all puns intended, talking guard Memolards as well. But he was on track to start last year.
Yeah.
He was going to be our either our left or right offensive guard last year. Mm-hmm. And it was going to be Bulow and Kalepo fighting for that other spot. So before his injury, I mean, he was our starting right guard. Yep. I can't remember if it was our right guard or left guard. That doesn't matter. Point being, getting a guy like Enoch Vamahi coming out of Ohio State, high recruited player, he never really got the opportunity because of just all the talent at Ohio State. But everything we're hearing is, sure, he might have a couple miscues in practice, but everything we're hearing with Vamahi is that he can solidify that right guard position and hold that down next to Azaparty. So it ain't like our cupboards are bare at the University of Washington.
No.
And it's also not like these guys are inexperienced freshmen. Maybe Fasolo is, but if you look across the board, all these guys have either a lot of years under their belt, meaning they've played against D1 opponents, or they've actually been playing. Like if you watch Tatali against Oregon last year, he held his own even at Portland State against Dorless and all them guys. Yeah. So I think that there is a lot to watch. It's not like we're throwing a bunch of zeros in there. Now let's focus though. Let's kind of deep dive into each of these positions. Let's start with tackles, because I think it's weird when you're looking at the tackles. The right tackle, I think, is maybe our best position on the offensive line within as a party, and our left tackle might be our weakest, with Fasolo being that he's brand new. Noah, when you're looking at the tackles, what's your breakdown? Like, what are the things that you're excited about? And do you think both these guys stay our starting tackles the whole season?
Yeah, I actually do. Looking at really, I'll hit this quick because I kind of mentioned these already. But I mean, with Azaparty, you look at him, him coming out of San Diego State. He obviously week in and week out, he surely didn't see the edges and the 5 techniques he's going to see in the Big Ten. But the thing with Azaparty is he has a great base. His pass blocking is elite, and dude, he'll get up in you too. He's got a nasty mean streak. He has that. You know what he has too? He has that he has that Roger Rosengarten flipper. So when the guy runs past him, dude, he will absolutely just like rocket launch you in the back, and you'll see that guy just like fly past the quarterback. So that he has some very elite traits that you like from from your tackles. And Fasalo, dude, I mean, seriously, what is he? 6'8", 6'9"?
Yeah, he's big.
At the end of the day, man, Fasalo, they're obviously, him being young, him being inexperienced, there's obviously something he's been doing in practice day in and day out that Brennan Carroll feels confident that he can start, for this team. And don't forget either, it's not like Brennan Carroll didn't take some highly rated recruits at the offensive line position out of Arizona and just kind of end up pushing guys in the NFL. Dude, he's taken some pretty, mid-level 3-stars and had made that offensive line at Arizona pretty darn good, man. So
yeah. Fasalo officially 6'8", 310.
Okay.
So no, didn't give him an inch there. I was wrong.
That's a big boy. That's a big boy.
Dude, huge frame.
I know, Izzo, you kind of already elaborated on Fasalo a little bit. What I want you to answer after you get into the Fasalo thing, though, is the next guy up as a tackle, because those two guys are solidified as starters. But then what's behind them? Because we do know attrition is big in college football. So I'm curious to hear your opinions on who's behind him.
I think McCree is the guy that I would assume is behind him. I don't have like a clear picture on who that is behind McCree, but I would say that he's probably the next guy up. And I would think that they may move somebody outside, like who is on the inside to left tackle, if that was the case. Because I think they're pretty confident in Henning stepping in at guard. And I could see maybe they bounce guard Memlar outside to left tackle. But in that situation where we're going to McCree or past him, it's not good. It's not. We can't be doing that. We can't afford that right now. We said the cupboards are not bare, but at left tackle, we do not want to take an injury to Fasalo. We really don't. So that's what I'll say on this. This is the thing that I'm looking for from Fasalo. He's got this huge frame. He's 6'8", 310 pounds. He's going against the best Big Ten pass rushers. So I would just say we really he's got to be able to show and prove that he can set his anchor, because he's going against the strongest dudes on some of the biggest defensive lines in the country.
Before we move on to guards, Noah, is there anything else you want to add, or are we good?
Nope, I think we're good, man. I mean, looking at guards, we kind of already touched on, Memillard and Vamahi. I think Izzo, not to completely go off our guards, but I want to go to center though for a second. I think Izzo brings up a really good point when it comes to Landon Hatchett. So if Hatchett doesn't get injured, I mean, he is our bona fide day one starter. And I think this is where Izzo was going, is what happens if Tatali comes in first 4 games, whatever it is, 5 games, and just balls out, plays great. Do you really take him out of, because what did Izzo say? What is he looking for? He's looking for like that communication between the offensive line and that cohesion, right? And that was the thing I talked about as well, is the cohesion. But do you slide Hatchet into one of the guard positions? Like how does that work? Izzo, what are your thoughts there? I took over the hosting for a second, but I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
That's valid. That kind of sounds good to me. What if guard Memlar is capable of playing left tackle? Or what? One player I forgot about for left tackle was Paki Finau. I don't want to see him out there as a freshman because he's so locked in for being a surefire like NFL type of left tackle in the future. So I'd prefer that we don't rush him out there into the Big Ten. But I really like that idea, Noah. Bouncing one of those guards out of, God forbid there be an injury, or if you just can't keep Landon Hatchett off the field.
Yeah.
Like you had said earlier, you've got this Tom Cable type of practice going on where they're rotating all these dudes. What's the problem with bouncing a Memlar or an Enoch to one of the tackle positions? Yep. And then, I know as a party hasn't played left tackle. He's always been a right tackle. So I don't know if that's the spot for him. But maybe you're putting guard Memlar there at left guard to potentially think about bouncing him outside if Tatali can play center and you just can't keep him out because the communication looks so good and he's not losing battles, and put Landon at left guard. He can play it. We've seen him play it before.
Yeah, Izzo, just so you know, because that was a great point with as a party playing right tackle. Brennan Carroll has been putting him at left tackle for a certain number of reps every single practice, just to give him familiarity there. So I think there is something to this, this Tom Cable, Scott Huff, thought process of my guards are good enough to play tackle. My tackles are good, or are mean enough to play guard.
Izzo, let's dive into some of the film that you brought. Like you found some really good stuff online, and it really breaks down this offense that Jedd Fisch runs. So talk to me.
Yeah. So shout out to Coach Koo on Twitter. He's got 32 years of experience. Been a defensive and recruiting coordinator. He's done some CFB and NFL research analyst stuff. He's got his own Substack. He's at Coach Koo, and that's Coach KOU on Twitter. Hit him up. I saw him break down a couple just snippets of game film last year from Jedd Fisch. There's some good stuff to glean from that. But I wanted to show you, I had him break down 5-6 clips that kind of dissect what we do on offense. And I'm going to show them to you here. We'll go to the Y screen for Arizona and watch. What I want you to pay attention to here is the tight end's involvement. This one tight end concept and how important he is, not only in the routes that they're running, but in blocking and whatnot. But pay attention to the tight ends as you're watching this.
It's another great play by Coach Fisch. Another screen that they run. They fake the screen to the left, fake the screen to the right, and hit the tight end on a wide delay route. Again, this is all because they have such a great screen game that teams respect. They run screens about 7, 8, 10 times a game. So they're very consistent what they do. They run plays off it. So again, they fake the screen here, fake it to the right, and hit the wide delay and a nice seam for a nice 12-yard gain.
So you see why it might be preferable for them to specialize, because if this is just one play where within, like he had said, where I think Jedd was running the most screen game of any college football coach last year. And we can expect, like, behind an offensive line that's a little bit, that has some holes or whatever, you're going up against a big defensive line that's going to press on Fasalo as a young tackle. These are the types of things that he's going to be asked to run this crazy route where he's waiting, and the timing needs to be perfect on him waiting for 2 fakes to the outside. And then it's a screen to the inside to the tight end, or it's a pass to the tight end over the middle. Like, that's taking a lot of nuance in just one play, when he's also asked to chip block, to run a different type of blocking screen on an outside screen, or a blocking set on an outside screen. Like, there's a ton that's asked of that one tight end that's on the field.
Really quick on that is too. Yeah. You know what that's doing though is that play right there with the Y delay, it's asking the defense to almost be perfect. Because on that play, Jabbar Muhammad had Jonah Coleman coming out of the backfield on a flat route. And then ZTF is getting chipped, It's actually just a delay block. He's getting chipped by the tight end. But Eddie, he over pursues to Jonah Coleman as well. And that's why you have a wide open. I think that's McLaughlin most likely, right over there for a 12-yard gain. I mean, that's putting pressure, so much pressure on the defense to be perfect. And then in turn, they're not perfect. That's UW, 12-yard gain. So that's the type of pressure. I think just simple plays, simple concepts like this. You go bunch bottom side. I mean, it's kind of fun to see, because not that UW didn't run stuff like this, because there are pieces of our offense you see here, but it's just fun to see that we aren't missing a beat when it comes to kind of what Jedd Fisch calls as well.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll keep rolling through these. I want you to take a look at the offensive line here. This is another screen game concept from Jedd Fisch and Brennan Carroll here.
One thing you'll see from Coach Jedd Fisch is a great screen game, and that complements some of their other stuff they do off it. So early in the game, they'll run some wide receiver screens. They do a great job getting guys out in space. They're probably one of the best screen teams I've seen in the country. They do an excellent job just running it different ways, different screens. And here versus Arizona State, they just get guys in space. They do an excellent job. Now, off of that, they run with some fake screens and some other stuff. So here they come out. They look like they're going to run the screen. Go empty. They fake the screen. Fake it here, fake it there. And then they just run by crossover. They look at how this guy's spaces, and they hit the middle of the field. So they do great things off their actions. Again, they fake the screen. They ran the screen earlier. Now they're faking it to both sides, and they run wide cross. You'll see some other variations where they'll fake a screen and run the tight end on the delay. So they do a great job in their screen game, which complements their offense.
You guys starting to see the layers on this?
I love how it keeps the defense on their heels so they can't press the offensive line.
Yeah, like this is what we were talking about. It gets crafty. Right after I watched these clips, Noah's got to be laughing for this reason. I called Noah and I was like, I texted him. I was like, call me right away. I'm Doogie. We're going 11-1. We're going 12-0. But this is what we were talking about, man. We're asking a lot of tight ends. We're asking a lot of offensive linemen getting out in space. Timing is ultra important. These little nuances that you always hear coaches talk about and harp on. This is what allows for these plays to work in an offense where you have to get creative to create time. And like you said, Mike, put the defense on their heels so they're not always rushing 6 at a young offensive line because they have to defend another double pump fake Y crossing route to the tight end. It's like, and then it sets up that the Y crosser is now open on the next play, that the next time they throw that same look at you. It's just, there's, beyond them creating misdirection and buying themselves time to operate as an offense and let players get open, there's routes that they get out quick. They get the ball out fast. And guess who is the SEC leading passer of all time because he worked in an offense that got the ball out quick? It's your quarterback, Will Rogers. Who would you rather have operating a complex offense that requires good leadership, good vocal leadership and coordination and cohesion on the offensive line and making sure those things are happening than a redshirt senior who leads that SEC in passing?
It makes sense why you would ask me to count how long it was taking to get Will Rogers get the ball out of his hand during the mock game. And it was right around that 3-second mark. And that's all they need. That's all they really need.
And this is what, like, when you see when you're getting into battles on Twitter with guys from Oregon who are like, you guys are going to score 7 points in this game, 14 points. It's like, and they're doing this football math of like, who's the players? How many stars was he rated? Yeah. It's like, dude, you like, they're not even looking at this, right? So they don't have any conceptual grasp of like why Jed Fish took a 1-11 Arizona to a 10-win top 15 ranked football team in 2 years. This is it.
Exactly. For my guys, Izzo and Noah, I'm Mike Flaunt, and this is Dubbed Up. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs, baby.